Hi everyone, I am here today with Michael.
Hello.
Which is the Wise Pilgrim.
Yeah, wow.
And we wanted to talk about he has two new things. Well,
some new innovations.
New innovations.
Yeah.
He has the Camino Planner.
Right.
And I wanted you maybe then later we could show people how to use it.
Absolutely.
And because that's always easier when you see someone on the screen show you how to use it. Then it's easier to pick it up yourself. And you have some new things in your app.
And there's some new things in the app.
Yeah.
A handy new feature in the app that we can show as well.
Okay. So let's just do that.
You go straight to it?
Let's do that. Okay. So we'll set up again and we'll show you the Camino Planner and the Camino app, the new things that he has introduced in his Wise Pilgrim app.
Brilliant.
This is the Camino Planner, right? And this is where what's the idea with the Camino Planner?
Well, the whole idea was, it was born out of a desire to allow pilgrims to share their journeys with other people. It's a way to sort of plan your stuff, your Camino, and to share that plan with other people as sort of a jumping off point for others. And it kind of came about because there's always on the forum and in other media these questions of, hey, what are the stages? You know, and Wise Pilgrim has always been very anti-stage. From the books and the apps, we've never put any kind of, hey, listen, you have to walk from here to here and from here to here. You know, all the distances should be free floating. You should walk till you're tired and so
the
on.
idea that with a planner is you plan your stops and where you're sleeping, right?
Correct.
And you could actually make bookings as well for those places.
You can.
If you want.
You can make bookings for that. And of course,
and then you could share your itinerary with others if others are interested to hear or look at
where you walked and as well as where you stayed. Exactly. Because people are always looking for recommendations, whether it's an albergue or a hotel. Hey, what places did you enjoy? You
could share an itinerary to people and say, okay, this was my Camino. I like these places.
Right.
And so others can
use that as a starting point.
Starting point.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
they can be edited, so you can go back even during your Camino to say, hey, this plan is not working out. These days are too long, or these days aren't long enough, and so you can kind of adjust it on the fly.
Okay. So let's say I'm walking. How would this work? Let's say I'm walking from Pamplona to Santiago.
So we're going to click over to the Camino Frances, and here, as I mentioned, sharing, we have just three options for the Camino Frances because there are variations, right? So this one has the Invierno from Ponferrada, and this one starts with the Aragonés, but we'll pick one that has Pamplona, and we'll scroll down to Pamplona, which is, of course, after the split, and we're going to select Pamplona as our first spot. So here we are. This is Pamplona here.
Yep.
And it's already selected. Oh, you must have selected stuff before we started the video.
Maybe I looked at it, yeah.
But it's no problem. You'll see something like this, where it's just empty.
I'm not sure if they can see the arrow, but there's a button there that says plus add to itinerary.
Right, so we'll add that to the itinerary.
Okay.
And, of course, we had previously selected a few places, but this would start with 0. And as you scroll down the page, you'll get maps of what's ahead. And in these boxes, you'll see the running total of your day. It's not the distance to that place, it's the distance to that place from Pamplona. Okay. So you can say, let's say, here we're going to walk all the way to Puente la Reina, which is also selected, but I'll unselect it and show you again.
Okay.
And there's a couple other boxes here. This box appears, I'm not going to scroll all the way to the top, but I should have mentioned it at the top.
To the left, that's like the date, right?
Yeah, at the very top of the field, you can enter your starting day. And this is helpful for two things. One, so you can sort of see what day you're going to end on. And also, if you plan to make any reservations through booking, this link here will automatically populate with that date. So you don't have to worry about, particularly to the North Americans, getting the dates inverted and these kinds of things. And if you're going to have a rest day, here you can select how many nights you want to spend in that place.
Okay.
And that's about as simple as it gets.
So then you kind of repeat that.
You repeat that for the next day.
Can you do it like every day, or do you have to do it all before you leave home?
You can do as much or as little as you want.
Because it'll remember when you go back.
It'll remember. It will remember. And at the very bottom of the form, you'll have a place where you can either save it, which is recommended, so you can get to it later and you can share it. You'll get an email with both of those links.
Okay.
Or you can print off a quick PDF. And there's two different versions. There's one which only contains the places that you've selected, and that means the cities that you selected and any of the accommodations. So I'm going to open this accommodation in Estella here. And let's say I want to stay at the municipal albergue. I will just add that to the itinerary, and now it's remembered and will be added to the PDF at the end.
Okay.
The other option is the full PDF, which will be everything from the first place that you chose to the last place you chose, with all of the places in between, as well as the content that appears in the Wise Pilgrim printed guidebooks.
Okay.
So it's basically the full guide, but in a PDF form.
Okay. So and we probably in this video won't go through all of the stages, but now we have selected a few, right?
We've selected a few.
Let's say, what do you want to do?
I was going to show you one more thing here,
Okay.
because there are far more accommodation options than I could ever dream to have all built in, and because new ones are opening every month. There's a custom field here, so you can put in, Ivar's Hotel,
Okay.
and then you can just add it, and you'll see that we've now created a thing. You can put as much information here as you want if you've got an email or a booking confirmation or a phone number.
Yeah.
It's just a way to make a sort of note to yourself, and that will appear in the PDF as well.
Okay.
So now, here's another point too. When you get to a split, this is to say where a Camino presents you with a choice, the primary way is always pre-selected, but you're welcome to select the alternate route, and you'll see below that everything kind of shifts from the left lane to the right lane, and all these distance now calculate.
Okay.
And so you have to remember to do that. There's only a few places along the Camino where that's a big deal, primarily on the first day out of Saint Jean and later when you leave Sahagún. But I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom.
Okay.
Grab this guy. And here you see where you want to send it to your email, which I recommend you do, and you'll get a confirmation. Now, I've discovered, since this is launched in January, that people enter their email address incorrectly many times.
And then it's lost.
And then it kind of gets lost. You can write to me and I can try to track it down. But I recommend putting your email here, hitting save, checking your email. It should appear immediately. There should only be a 5 or 10 second delay before that email is sent.
Okay.
And then you can go on to printing. And these will just save a PDF to your hard drive. It takes just a few seconds. I've put 15 to 30 seconds here, but that's a bit of an exaggeration. It goes much quicker. What happens if I click this? Can I click this now?
Yeah.
So let's try the simple PDF. And that's it.
Well, it opened up a save.
It's going to open up a save dialog. But this is as simple as that.
Yeah.
And the PDF will have all of the details and also the booking links. So this is the kind of thing that if you wanted to print it off, save the PDF on your phone or print it if you were so inclined to. And there's QR codes there for booking.
Yeah.
Which is a helpful way to get straight to a city's, search bar.
But this could also be a tool that you maybe could use a week before you leave at home as well. Not saying I'm for sure going to stay at these places, but as like a starting point.
Preferably, that's the way you do it.
Because it's much easier to do all this maybe on the computer than when you're in the field with your phone. It's a little bit more.
It's sort of a way to familiarize yourself with the trail. Now, we've gone through the example of the Camino Frances, which is saturated with albergues.
Yeah.
You can choose your own adventure in an unlimited amount of ways.
Yeah.
But this also works really well, probably better for the less known caminos, the Camino de Invierno, where the stages are a bit more defined, and then you can kind of get a good view of between this place and this place, there are no other places, and so you can really sort of visualize in advance, and that's kind of the whole idea. When you save your email address in there, you'll get an email with two links. One is the one that you can always go back to edit it. And the other is one that you can share with other people. When you give them that link, it will strip out all of the dates that you've put into the itinerary so that you don't have to worry about people going, yeah, but Susan's going to be in Pamplona on such and such a night in such and such a hotel.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a privacy thing. And you don't have to share an itinerary with places. You could simply make a list of all the places, the accommodation you chose, and you'll get that as the PDF, as something to recommend to people. So if you wanted to make a list of all the Donativo albergues or all the best private albergues and so forth.
Good.
And that's the Camino Planner in a nutshell.
Great.
Yeah.
So people just have a look and play with it. And if you've selected a few things, is there a way to like reset if you want to start again?
There is. Let me scroll all the way back to the top again, or at least there should be. There's a reset button here where you would put your date. If you hit reset, now we'll see if we scroll down and add, scroll slowly back up, and we add Saint Jean. You'll see it is night number 1.
Yeah. Okay. So that's how you know it's.
And that's how you know. If we go back down to, you'll see the numbers here getting bigger and bigger.
Very good.
The other option you can do is if you think that you're just going to walk from, for example, Saint Jean to Logroño, you could come in and choose those 2 places and print out the detailed PDF and make it up from then.
Yeah.
You don't need a guidebook beyond Logroño, so you're not tearing pages out of anything. That's the PDF that you make for yourself.
Good.
And that's that.
Great. Thanks for showing this.
This is such a strange thing to be doing. Okay.
All right. So this is the Wise Pilgrim app.
Correct.
That you can download from the Apple App Store or the Android Play Store, I guess.
Yep.
And let's show people how do you use this app and what's some of the new things you've added?
Good question. Well, for the most part, a lot of it is self-explanatory, but in talking to many pilgrims in the last years, I've realized there's one very important feature which seems to get overlooked an awful lot. And so I'm going to click into the first section here, which starts in Saint Jean.
That's where it said body, because people can't see where your finger goes.
My apologies. So I clicked on the first third there.
The first little block.
And the thing that I wanted to show everyone, now, of course, this is probably going to glitch on me while I'm doing this, but I'm going to scroll down a bit to a useful spot. We'll say Roncesvalles. You'll see on the left-hand side all of these numbers. The box that's the gray on the bottom, which mysteriously says minus 323, is the running total of distances. And if we swipe left on a place, you have 2 options. One is a heart, and that's going to add that place as a favorite, which you can then filter by later. But the one next to it is the most important one. I've tapped that little plus, and you'll see that the gray box went to 0. And all the gray boxes below it, the gray box turned green and went to 0. And then the rest below it, for example, to Burguete is 2.6 kilometers, and then to Espinal it's 6.3. So again, like on the planner, those are the running totals from that place. Mm-hmm. And surprisingly, not a lot of people know that. You can flag something as the start, or if you like to work backwards, you can flag it as the end. So here I've chosen Roncesvalles, and you'll know that when you're in Valcarlos, for example, you still have 12 kilometers to go. Their numbers in negative, so you're sort of counting down to the end.
Have you made this feature so people should set it to 0 when they start every day, so they know how far it's?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or when they're looking ahead to 3 days from now, like I know I'm going to end up in León. I'm going to spend an extra day in León. They can set it to León, and while I find that myself personally and quite a few other pilgrims after dinner sit down and kind of open up the books or the apps or the maps, and they kind of come up with a plan.
Good.
So then the next thing I wanted to show. And for this, I will scroll back up to Saint Jean because they have many albergues. And at this time of the year, some are closed. So
you tapped on the text that was in Saint Jean. And
yes, and these are, of course, the detail pages with a booking link under the photo there. Mm-hmm. And at the bottom, by the way, all of this content is the content from the books.
It's exactly the same.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yep. And then this is all of the accommodation. And to show the new feature, let me go back in time just a bit, because this is something I sort of started innovating with a year ago. I was making tools for the hospitaleros. I built what I call El Sabio, which is Spanish for the wise one. It's a WhatsApp robot that receives messages from the app or from the Hospitaleros and publishes information live and in the app. A year later, I've added a new feature, and I've got a couple more queued up for the rest of the summer. And this one, if we click into a place, and I'm going to click the turtle albergue here, it's currently closed, so this isn't going to affect anything. But there's a big red button now that says report as full for today.
So imagine that this albergue was open.
We're in the middle of July, and we're looking for a bed.
And it says, and
I've called them.
And they told you.
We're full.
They're full.
Right.
So you can report it.
Because I'm such a kind pilgrim.
Yes.
And I'm looking out for the other pilgrims coming up behind me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna click on this button, and these are all WhatsApp tools. So you have to have WhatsApp on your phone, which if you're a pilgrim in Spain, you should probably consider doing anyway, because it's the way the Europeans communicate.
That is true.
So I'm gonna click on report as full for today, and it's gonna open up in WhatsApp.
Yep.
And it's a pre-written message. You don't have to write anything.
Yep.
And it's just a message that says, hey, wise pilgrims, this place is full today.
Yep.
Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send that. It's going to go off. El Sabio is going to read it. He's going to think about it for a second.
So this message goes to you.
This message goes to
the albergues.
It doesn't go to the albergues, and it doesn't necessarily come to me. It goes to a database up in the cloud, right?
Yep.
And so you'll get a reply to say, "Hey, we received that." Now, when we switch back, you're going to see at the top now, right under the photo, there's an orange bar that says one pilgrim has reported this as full for today. Although I see a typo there when it's has and have.
All right.
Bugs to fix, always.
So now, if you're browsing a list of albergues you're thinking of staying that day, you see an orange thing.
You go, okay.
Maybe they're full.
Maybe they're full. And that orange bar will go to red as more and more people report it. So maybe you see orange and you go, I'm going to give it a try.
Exactly. And it resets tomorrow. So
it resets at midnight. That's right. This is for, all of the tools that El Sabio is trained so far to do. It deals with today. It's for the last minute people, the people that don't make reservations. And you don't have to go into the details page of an albergue, because if you go back to this list, you'll see that it appears there as well.
You'll see it right there.
That's
nice.
And I should say, there are more features that the Hospitaleros have control over. So you may see in these views other colors. You may see a green one, because the Hospitaleros have the tools to say, hey, we do have beds for today.
And then it shows us green.
And it shows us green.
And when they're full, they can also tell you
that's correct.
They're full.
That's correct. And then you'll see a different message. So when you start to see all these strange colored bars popping up, it's because it's live information. The Hospitaleros are telling you there's blue boxes. The blue boxes will tell you private rooms, whether they're available or not available.
That's nice.
And that's it. That's El Sabio in a nutshell.
Good.
And there's more planned in the future. This is going to be a tool that I think winter pilgrims will be able to make use of.
Yeah.
Whereas as opposed to reporting something as full, they can actually say, hey, look, these albergues are open. I stayed here today. It's open. And it'll work a little bit differently, but it's basically pilgrims communicating to other pilgrims today. Real live information.
Good. Great. Well, thank you for showing us this.
Thank you.
And I'll put link in the description to the planner and to a URL where they can get the app if they're interested.
Very good.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ciao, ciao.
And buen camino, everyone.
Ciao.